everyone, my name is Evie Lupine. Welcome back to my channel, and today I have another video for you all. Today we are going to keep things fun and light. Had this idea brewing in the back of my mind for probably a few weeks now, and I thought, let's do it. This week, let's do a would you rather style video all about BDSM. So for those of you who don't already know, a would you rather type question is basically where you're forced to choose between, like, would you rather be forced to wear banana peels as shoes for the rest of your life, or would you rather have to wear a cereal bowl on your head for the rest of your life? It can be serious, it can be fun, it can be weird, and I thought the idea of doing one focused on BDSM was just really interesting. So that is what we're going to be doing today, and I asked you guys on Tumblr, Twitter, and on Instagram for the questions that you wanted to have answered, and I got so many. Not a bad thing at all, I just wasn't expecting as many as I got, and I've decided I'm going to be breaking this down into a two-part video. This video is going to be all about the general BDSM questions of any kind, and then I'm going to be doing a second video where I answer all of the pet play related ones, because I got a lot of pet play style would you rather questions, which I was not expecting. So for those of you who are really interested in pet play, you're gonna get your whole own video. For those of you who are like, pet play's not really my thing, I want to know about this other thing instead, here you go, here's that video for you. So I am going to be kind of breaking this down into the different places where the questions were asked. I'm going to try and get to as many of them as I can in another 20 minutes. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So the first questions that I'm going to be answering are from Tumblr. And the very first question is from Lord Jafal, who says, would you rather use a real cat o' nine tails or get stuck in handcuffs without a key or release latch? I would definitely have to say I would rather have a cat o' nine tails done, because at least with a cat o' nine tails, you didn't specify how long it was going to be for, so if I just do it once and that's it, that's great. But with handcuffs, being stuck on without a key or a release latch of any kind, I'd prefer not to have it like the metal ground off from between my hands. That would be really freaky. Oh, and by the way, I'm answering these from my phone, so if you see me looking down, it's because I'm trying to read the questions. Anyways, the second question is from Brace Maiden, who says, would you rather be turned into a corset for a day or become a whip for a day? I think my personality is a lot more corset-like than it is whip-like, so I think I'm gonna have to say I would rather be a corset for a day, because kind of like you get to give somebody a hug all day, and I think that'd be really nice, and I like the shape of corsets. I think, you know, being a whip might be a little bit too intense for me if I was a whip for a whole day, especially if I was being used. So Daddy's Kitten's World says, would you rather kneel naked kneed on a hard surface scattered with uncooked rice, or kneel fishnetted on a hardwood floor as a punishment? Now, for me, both of those things would not be punishments, because I kind of like that sort of rough sensation, and I like rice and things like that. I think if we were doing it as a punishment, it would be something that I wasn't supposed to like. I would probably have to say the fishnet need on the hardwood floor, because I think that would be a little bit less sustainable, a little bit more irritating. And from Little Kitten Sammy, they ask, would you rather be furniture or a statue, or the observer? I think I would definitely rather be the statue or be the furniture. I really like being human furniture. I wouldn't say it's like a kink of mine, because I mean, I don't get off on it, but I'm also asexual, obviously. But it's something that I really enjoy doing, so I would definitely choose being a piece of human furniture over just being an observer. Okay, I think that is enough from Tumblr for now, so I'm going to go ahead and move over to Twitter, because I want to make sure everybody who asked a question across the various formats gets an equal chance to have their voice heard. So the first question that I was asked on Twitter was from Stefan Kincaid, who says, for punishment, would you rather have to count every grain of rice in a bag of rice, or wear soaking wet socks all day? Definitely have to count all of the grains in a bag of rice. I am not good at math, but I am also very much a texture person, and the texture of having wet socks on my feet all day would, I think, actually drive me insane. Whereas with rice, I could at least, like, I could focus on it, I could zen into it, I might even get a little bit of pleasure out of doing that because I'm very organization focused, whereas the wet socks would be, no, we're not going to go there. Red. I'm going to put that on my hard limits list later, actually, now that I think about it. Okay, so the next question is from Tremaine Holt, who says, without breaking role for 24 hours, would you rather have full-on puppy play with gear or 1950s goth pinup housewife, full makeup, heels, etc.? I think if you were to ask me this question like a year ago, I probably would have said full-on puppy play with gear. But I think currently I am very much leaning into the 1950s goth pinup sort of style, and I would really love to do a scene based around that because I haven't done one yet. I've done a lot of service things, but they haven't been like 1950s focused. They've been more like English butlering style. So it would be really interesting to do that, especially doing it for 24 hours. I think that's also a little bit easier to do than doing like a pet play 24 hours because then it's like, how do you brush your teeth? And, you know, how do you make sure you get enough calories during the day? And I think there might be some more complex things with having to be a pet literally for 24 hours. And finally, the last one that I'm going to answer from Twitter is from Soft, and they say, would you rather be a slave to a BDSM house, aka a leather/DS house, or serve one master? I think for the most part, I would prefer to serve one master. I like the idea of serving a house, but I am a very introverted person, and it would be, I think, difficult for me to find a group of people that I clicked with on that level that I would want to all serve equally, because there's definitely people that I like and that I'm friends with in the BDSM community, but like serving them as a member of the house I think would be difficult. So I think I would go with serving one master rather than serving a house. So now we are going to move over to Instagram. I definitely got the most questions out of anywhere on Instagram. I got, I think, at least 50 on there. So the first question is from XFruitbatX, who says, would you rather be in an upside down suspension for 20 minutes or be caned for 20 minutes? I love doing inversion suspension, so I would definitely have to pick 20 minutes in an inversion suspension because that's one of my favorite things to do, and I think 20 minutes is probably pretty sustainable depending on the tie. And the next question is from a very sassy potato who says, only do impact play forever or only do bondage scenes forever? I think I would probably rather do bondage scenes forever. I definitely like doing impact play, but it's not the number one thing on my kink list. I think there are enough other ways to elicit painful sensations that aren't impact play that I wouldn't necessarily need it, whereas I think bondage itself is quite hard to replicate without it actually being bondage, if that makes sense. So the next question is from Chira Groyan, who says, would you rather have to maintain eye contact with your dom at all times at a high protocol party or be restricted from making eye contact with anyone for the duration of the party? I think I would prefer to have no eye contact at all. I very much like the idea that high protocol, like service aspect of being completely in the background, being just like an accessory, a facilitator of the experience, but not being like a core part of the experience. And I find making eye contact with people I don't know that well very difficult. And even with Mr. Tex, I have difficulty maintaining like full eye contact all the time, so I think I would definitely prefer to have it be so I'm not allowed to make any eye contact restriction rather than always have to maintain eye contact with my dom 24/7. So Mint Green Queen 12 asked, would you rather only be able to participate in the online only BDSM community or stop participating in BDSM altogether? Definitely, I would rather stay in the online community. I mean, it has its ups and downs, it has its bad people, it has its bad parts to it, but I would much rather maintain a sense of community than have no community at all. Little Nova 18 asked, would you rather be caned for 10 minutes or flogged for an hour? Whew, well, I hate to be that person, but it does kind of depend on the flogger, because we have floggers that are like 6 inches long, and we have floggers that are like giant rubber mop floggers, and there's floggers that are made of barbed wire, and floggers that are made out of rubber, and floggers that are made out of nice soft spongy elk hide, and they all produce very, very different sensations. Although I think I would probably rather be caned for 10 minutes, but I'm also kind of in a caning mood, if you know what I mean. So I'd probably rather be caned for 10 minutes, as long as it wasn't like at full, like 10 out of 10, throttle as hard as possible. I would definitely do the caning for 10 minutes. Lisa Dine 8 says, would you rather be dominating to a man or another woman if you had to? I would definitely prefer to be dominant over a woman or somebody who is female identified rather than somebody who's masculine. I don't generally like playing with masculine energy in that way. I don't like feeling like I'm dominant over masculine energy. It just feels weird. Whereas I think if I had to dominate somebody, it'd be much easier if it was another person who was female identified. Silly Ohio asked, would you rather have rough jute cord bondage or have to give up one of your stuffies? I don't see how that's not a win-win situation. I would have both rough jute cord bondage and I would still keep all of my stuffies. So that just sounds like a win-win to me. So Nerdbird3791 asked, would you rather get a tattoo of your sir's choice or be branded to show his ownership? If that makes sense. So I think I would rather get a tattoo, and the reason for that is that it's a lot less risky than branding. There have been some, not super recent, but relatively recent controversies within the BDSM community of people who have had branding experiences go completely wrong because the top misrepresented their experience levels and the actual risk profile of what they were doing. So yeah, I would definitely much rather get a tattoo than be branded, although unless we're counting cell popping as branding, because I'm currently really interested in finding out more about cell popping. So maybe it was that, because that's like a temporary brand. That would be like the best of both worlds. Anyways, I'm overthinking it. Let's move on to the next question. I think this is actually the one that got the most likes out of all of the ones I got asked on Instagram, which is really interesting. And this is from Gemari.xo, who says, would you rather walk in on your parents being kinky or have your parents walk in on you and your partner being kinky? Both seem kind of scary to me. No, for real, both of those are very scary options. I think I would rather walk in on my parents being kinky because then it's like, oh, okay, so they kind of get it a little bit maybe, so maybe I can be a little bit more like myself around them, and even if it was like super terribly awkward for like 5 seconds, hey, that's on them and not on me, and I'm not the one feeling the embarrassment, so hey, that's good. So Mochi Foxy asked, would you rather be in a completely vanilla relationship or in a 24/7 total power exchange relationship? Obviously 24/7 total power exchange. I really love this lifestyle, and though I think it would be difficult for me at this point in my development of my submission to be in a 24/7 total power exchange relationship, I would much rather have that and have it be super well negotiated with somebody I trusted than have to go back to being vanilla, because that would be painful. It would almost feel like I was losing one of my limbs or like a finger if I had to give up being in a BDSM relationship or being a part of the kink community in some way. Softly Demonic had a lot of questions, and they're all really good questions. So I'm going to try and get through all of these because they're all fascinating. So the first question that Softly Demonic asked was, would you rather participate in Japanese tea service or British tea service? I think I would feel more comfortable doing British tea service overall. I know a very small amount of Chinese tea service. I don't know any Japanese tea service, and yes, they are different. So I think I would rather have British tea service because I've had a little bit of experience with that, and I like the sort of Victorian butler protocol thing. But if I could learn from like a master and I could have that be like a learning experience type of thing, I think it'd be really interesting to get the opportunity to actually learn like proper Japanese tea service. Okay, and Softly Demonic also asked, would you rather wash dishes naked with cold water with the air conditioner on full blast and cold shackles, or wear a shock collar and get shocked every single time you say I would much rather wear a shock collar and get shocked every time I say because that would actually be beneficial to me and it would be solving a problem. And I hate cold. I hate it. I hate it so much. I want it to be summer forever. I don't care that it's, 95 plus degrees outside. There's no AC. I love it. I live for it. Can't stand the freaking cold though. Not my jam. Softly Demonic says, would you rather work for E. Edward Grey or Christian Grey? So for those of you who don't know, E. Edward Grey is the main character boss person, like the dominant role in The Secretary, which has basically like a cult following among BDSM people of being like a somewhat adequate representation of the BDSM community. And I think I would much rather work for E. Edward Gray than Christian Grey, because he actually seems like moderately more stable than I think Christian Grey would be as a boss. And the last question that Softly Demonic asked was, would you rather do service gaming for your sir in a latex glove, and every time you die in the game, you get spanked, or wear a blindfolded latex hood while cooking dinner and have to eat whatever creation you make if it doesn't poison you to have it? I think I would rather do service gaming while doing latex gloves, because I think I would be too scared of burning myself to actually be able to cook dinner if I was doing it while blindfolded. So I think I would just get infinitely punished if I had to go with the second option. The next one is going to be from Bridget Uphoff, who says, would you rather for punishment be used as a footstool for an hour, or have to stand facing the wall with your nose touching it for 30 minutes? I think I'd rather be a footstool, because if I'm a footstool, I feel useful. And if I'm in a corner, I don't feel useful. Or I'm against a wall and I'm not doing anything, I don't feel useful. So I think it would be more effective probably as a punishment if I was against a wall. But I think I would prefer having to be a footstool. All right, and this is going to be the last question. And this is from Tattoo Flute, who says, would you rather do a scene with water play, like submerged or sprayed with cold water, or something with outside elements, soil, grass, etc.? I really like both, and I think if I had to choose, I would prefer to do a scene with water. I like doing scenes with tubs and buckets of water, and if you want to know about that experience, I will put a link to a video where I've talked about that before, so you can check that out. But I think I would rather do something with actual, like, being submerged or sprayed with cold water over doing something with outside elements. Okay, so that is all of the questions I'm going to be able to get to for now. Thank you so much for asking so many questions. I was blown away by how many I got, and again, I'm going to be continuing this video series, if you want to call it that, by doing a follow-up video where I just answer the pet play related questions. So if you haven't seen that yet, check it out, and if it's not out yet, check it out when it is. If you have any additional comments, questions, if you want to answer these would you rather questions, please feel free to do that down in the comments section below. If you haven't already and you like this video, please do subscribe. I make videos twice a week. And finally, if you really like this channel and you want to support my work, the best place to do so is over on Patreon. I have a ton of cool rewards, exclusive photo shoots and Discord chats and exclusive videos, all sorts of cool things, so do check that out if you haven't already. If you do already support, thank you so much. It is dearly appreciated, and until I see you guys next time, I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.